this recording? Am I in the frame? Hey y'all, it's me, Marty. Oh, good morning. It is Wednesday morning, June 1st, 2022. In the U.S., Minnesota, it's kind of the unofficial start of summer. Summer really doesn't start for another week or two, but basically June 1st to August 31st is kind of summer. And it's kind of funny how usually right around June 1st it's hot. Last year I think it was in the 90s already. So, and I don't like the heat. I don't like the heat and the humidity and the bugs, mosquitoes and flies and everything. Summer's not my favorite season, but I try to make the best of every season and enjoy every season outdoors. And yeah, it's only about 58 this morning. It's a little cooler. It's nice. It's actually going to be cooler this week, so I could handle summer like this if it cooled off at night and then kind of warmer in the day. But yeah, it's nice. Had a little fire last night, and now I'm having a fire this morning too. I enjoy a fire, I really do. Oh. So I had a fire up by our bigger fire pit toward the house. Yesterday evening after I cut the grass, my wife came out for a while with me and had a nice little fire. And I got up early this morning. It's about, I don't know, 6 a.m. Sun was coming up, and I thought I'm gonna go down and have a little fire and make a video. So I'm down by my tree house, a little bushcraft area here, my smaller fire pit. I like the little one. And got a little fire going here. Got my tarp down to sit on. The ground's a little wet just because it cooled off and it was kind of, the dew and stuff. Farmers got the fields planted. You can probably see they're starting to green up, starting to sprout. Usually they have soybeans on two sides because we have 4 sides of fields around us. We don't farm. We have a little 2-acre hobby farm, but farmers farm around us right up to our property. And usually 2 sides are soybeans and 2 sides are corn, and they switch each year. But oh, nice little fire. It's nice when it's cool and you can have a fire. Got my coffee in my wood cup. Got pistachios in my wood bowl. Hope you're all doing well. Making the most of life. And I just pray you're all living fully and doing what you can. Making the best of every situation. And just cherishing life. And enjoy the outdoors when you can. So, I want to talk about fire. As I stoke it here. I really enjoy a fire. Last couple of years, as I've gotten more into bushcraft and hiking and camping and just doing things outside and enjoying God's creation, I enjoy fires more than I used to. I mean, I've always liked camping and outdoors and campfires and stuff, but I want to talk about the importance of fire. Why is fire good? And I'm not talking about, you know, uncontrolled fire. You know, fires can, you know, ruin forests and houses and people and hurt, you know, all that kind of stuff. Uncontrolled fires, that's not good. But a controlled fire in a little area is a good thing. And there's a few reasons why I believe it. And these aren't new. Again, I like to just share my thoughts and my ideas and different things. And a lot of things I like to just share as I learn. And I have 10 reasons why fire is good. And, you know, I just think they're 10 good reasons to have a fire. It was nice. Lay back on the tree. Number 1, heat. You know, nice cool night. It's nice to build a fire and get heat from it. You know, and that's nice, but really think about it like in an emergency or survival situation. You know, if you go hiking or you're camping or whatever, and you know things go wrong or whatever, and you need heat. You know, it's really cold or you're hurt or whatever it is, and you just need heat. You can build a fire. You can get heat from it. You can get warmth from it. It's just, in an emergency or survival situation, it's a matter of life or death. It'll save your life. And on just a cool morning at home in the backyard, it's enjoyable. So yeah, number 1, heat. You can get heat from fire. Number 2, light. You can get light from fire. You start a fire and you're out in the woods and it's pitch black, and you know, you start a fire and you get light from it. And you just stoke it and you keep adding to it and you'll always have light. And it'll light up a whole campsite or a whole spot in the woods that would be dark. It'll light it up. It's amazing how fire will just lighten up and brighten things in a dark space. Number 3, you can boil water on a fire. You know, if you go hiking or you're camping, most of the time you're going to have water with you that you're going to bring in on the trail or camping or campground or whatever. Most of the time you're going to bring water with you. But, you know, if you go hiking and it's a long trail, it's a long hike, you might not be able to carry that much water because it's heavy, it takes up room, or you'll run out. And, you know, I've watched videos and read books and talked to people, and you're on a long hike or even a through hike or an overnight or something, you run out of water, you get thirsty real quick, and you're desperate for water. And, you know, find a creek or a river or a lake or waterfall or anywhere where there's water, and, you know, you can have water, but you got to purify it. You know, and yeah, you can have the tablets and put in there, but it's best to boil it. So on a fire you can boil water. You have to have a metal container. That's why it's good to have a metal container in your backpack, as well as, you know, bottles or whatever. Some kind of metal container to boil water and cook food. But in a metal container, you can put that water from the creek on the fire and boil it, and then it's purified. You can still use the purification tablets if you want, and to kill more bacteria, but boiling it pretty much is going to kill most things. So yeah, on a fire you can boil water and then you let it cool and you can drink it, and you can use it for cooking food and everything else too. Oh, this is nice. You gotta throw pistachio shells. It makes them taste better. I don't know why, it just does. Number 4. You know, after you boil your water, you can use it, you can let it cool, and then drink it, of course. But you can also make coffee, which is wonderful when you're on a trail, when you're camping, and in a survival situation to be able to have some coffee, or tea, or hot chocolate, or even soup. You know, to make liquids to drink. You can do that on a fire. It's just enjoyable building a fire, start to finish, and just continue to stoke it, help it to burn, and you got to keep feeding it. Number 5, with cooking liquids, you can cook food. So you can make food on a fire. And, you know, everything from, you know, having a little metal cook pot, putting ramen in there or soup or whatever, but also, you know, solid foods. I mean, you can make soups, but you can cook a steak on the fire, or chicken or fish, you know, taters and veggies and onions, whatever, any kind of food. And a survival situation, you know, if you can, if you have food with you, or if you can, you know, if you can hunt or trap or snare or figure out ways to do that to get, you know, wild game for food to survive, and you can cook it on the fire. You know, with that too, you can dry meat, you can make beef jerky and preserved meat and different things like that. But yeah, you can cook food on a fire. Very important to be able to do that. We're kind of spoiled that we always have food at the ready, you know, but if you're on a trail or you're camping, it's a little harder, and you got to bring stuff and make stuff and cook stuff. In a survival emergency situation, you'd have to do that and figure out ways to do it. And you can find wild edibles and stuff like that to cook and stuff, mushrooms and, you know, leaves, different things I don't even know. I'd like to learn some of that. I'm learning a lot of this stuff. But there's things like that you can cook on the fire. Number 6. The 6th reason I feel is important to have a fire. Defense for animals. Okay, so if you're in the woods and, you know, there's bear, wolves, whatever around, squirrels, sometimes they can be mean. If you have a fire, most of them are going to stay away. So yeah, to have the fire going and to keep it going, you know, if you know there's animals in the area and you're worried about that, you know, just keep a fire going, and that'll help keep them away. Ooh. Good coffee, and it's good in a wood cup. I'd like to learn to make kuksas. I want to probably end up buying one for myself and my wife, but I'd like to make them, but they're a little bit harder and bigger than carving spoons. You need some bigger knives, carving things to do it. I don't know, but my brother Don made me one because he does wood turning, so he turned me a wood mug, and I love it. Coffee tastes so good out of a wood mug or a wood container. I got a new fire steel at a military surplus store this past week. It's kind of cool. It's a bigger one. It's solid. It's kind of in a bullet shell with some green paracord on the end. Kind of a neat one. I've always wanted to go to military surplus stores, and recently I've been able to hit a couple. Well, I have a nice small tarp It's a U.S. Marine tarp that my wife got me at a military surplus store that we were at in Colorado. I got that, and I've hit a couple lately and just getting some different things for my pack. They got lots of good deals. They got good quality stuff, and they're tried and true. And yeah. Number 7, you can signal for help. If you're lost in the woods, you know, build a fire. Smoke signals and just the light of the fire and all the smoke, somebody's going to see it eventually. If you need help and you can't get out of there and you need somebody to come into the woods, into the wilderness and help you, yeah, start a fire. And as big as you need, yeah, when you build a fire, use, dead fallen trees and branches and stuff like that, but cut down whatever you need to build a fire in an emergency situation. Yeah, the live trees in the forest are important and all that, but your life is more important, so do whatever you have to do. Set the woods on fire if you have to. I mean, you know what I mean. We'll go to that extreme, but get a big fire going, and you gotta get help before you don't make it. So yeah, fire is a good way to signal for help. Number 8, along with keeping the animals away, it helps keep the bugs away. Especially if you have a lot of smoke, like sometimes my fires are. This is actually going really good. I got some good dry wood, and there's smoke, but there's flame too. I got a good fire going here, some good coals that could cook some food here. But yeah, a fire, have the fire, and especially, you can put branches and even fir tree branches, on here to make more smoke, and that helps keep the bugs away, mosquitoes, whatever. They don't like the heat or the smoke or the light. But yeah, it's a defense for bugs too. Number 9, you can dry your clothes, especially like when you're hiking. You're hiking, you don't realize it, but whether it's hot or cold out, you're gonna sweat. You're gonna sweat when you're hiking. And then when you're done hiking, and when you're, sitting at camp or whatever, and even after you're done, doing all the chores around camp, setting up your camp or whatever, and processing wood for a fire, then you'll cool off a little bit, but you're still sweaty, so you want to get those wet, sweaty clothes off and put up a couple sticks or something kind of over the fire, not in the fire, but over the fire or next to the fire, and dry out your clothes. That's really important because, especially if you're sleeping, you're camping overnight under a tarp or tent or whatever, and you don't want to sleep in wet clothes. That's not good, especially if it's cold. So yeah, you want to put on dry clothes to sleep in. So always have a change of clothes if you're camping overnight. Don't sleep in your sweaty clothes. So yeah, you can hang up your, all of your clothes, your socks, which is really important to have clean, dry socks. But everything, t-shirt, even your bandanas or whatever, hang up things to dry. You can do that on a fire. And number 10, it's a morale booster. If you're having a hard time, whatever it is, you're hiking or you're camping or you're lost, it's a survival emergency situation, building the fire, it is a morale booster for all those other 9 reasons because you can do those things, and it gives you hope, and it's, you can take care of yourself while you're in the woods, you know, whether you're just camping or it's a survival emergency situation. It's just going to boost the morale of everybody to be able to do those things, you know, water and food and light and heat and everything, and just the enjoyment of the fire, you know, to just be able to sit by it. So yeah, it's a morale booster. You know, and always be safe when you're building a fire. You know, try to have it self-contained. You know, if you're, you know, doing it at a campground or woods, you know, whatever, make sure you got rocks around or a fire pit. You know, or if you're just doing it survival or emergency situation or wherever you are, you know, clear the dry leaves and everything, and make sure you're not doing it under a tree. Well, I kind of am, but it's just a small fire. But you know, you don't want it to spread, so be careful of that. And you know, and you can use a little fire can like I have, or a firebox, or a self-contained fire pit, you know, if you don't have a way to make it safe, you know, rocks around it or whatever. So yeah, always be safe, and then always put it out good. You know, I'm overboard. At home here, I use our hose and I just douse it. You know, I don't want any chance of a spark, because I've sprayed a fire before, and then get a little warm here. I've sprayed it, and then I woke up the next morning and it was smoldering, it was burning. It caught again. Even with all that water and cold water and everything, it caught again. So you really got to make sure it's out. So yeah, I douse it with water. If you don't have water, dirt, you know, just make sure the fire is out. You don't want to walk away from a campsite or in the woods or even in your backyard. You don't want to walk away and then the fire ignites again, and then it's not good. You know, if it causes a big fire or damages property or hurts people, you know, you don't want that to happen. So make sure, you know, you are in control of your fire. I had a stir stick here. I don't know where I went. But yeah, make sure you're in control of your fire. Make sure you put it out when you're done. Just be safe. You know, and you could have a fire kit like I have. I just really like my fire kit. It's neat, and now I have a couple of them. But it's just a kit of ways to start fires, and that's good to have, you know, in any kind of pack. If you have a little waist pack, if you have a day pack or a big backpack or a bushcraft pack or camping backpack, to have some sort of a fire kit. I'm actually going to make a little mini one to put on the outside of my backpack, just so it's easy to get to, and then I have my big one inside. But yeah, to have a fire kit. Some of the things I have in here, and again, in my packs, and I'm going to do a new video pretty soon of my new pack. Actually, it's one I bought a couple of years ago, but I didn't use, and now I'm using it. It's kind of a more bushcrafty, outdoorsy backpack, and I got some military surplus stuff, and I put together a whole bunch of different things. It's really cool. So I'm going to do a loadout, show and tell of that pack pretty soon when I get it all. I want to get it complete, make some more things and add some more things, and I'll do that. But anyway, Where was I going with that? I'm going to show that soon. But I have that pack, and then I have a bigger pack, and then I have my day pack, and then I have my waist pack, and I have fire kits and all of them. So there's a lot of redundancy. There's a big word for you in my packs and in my fire kits. A lot of different ways to start a fire, and then I have multiples of different things. It doesn't take up much room or weight. Why not? You know, for emergency situation. And actually, I did a video sitting down here making a fire. I think it was this past winter or spring. And I couldn't get the fire going because everything was cold and wet. And so I used almost everything in my fire kit to get it going. I mean, I was using my lighter and matches and my tinder and fire starters and my fire steel, my ferro rod, everything. And I couldn't get a fire going. And I went through a lot of stuff trying to get it going. And so it's good to have extras of different things. So some of the things I have in here, well, I have a baggie of dryer lint. It's free and it's a really good tinder for getting a fire going. And then I have a baggie of sawdust and wood shavings from my shop. And then I got a couple of little fire starters that my wife gave me, work really good. So I have a lot of different ways to start a fire in here, but I like to just try different ways. I like to have a whole bunch of different ways for emergency, but I like to try different ways. It's just fun. So most of these are for emergency. I don't even use them. I like my fire steel, my ferro rod. And I want to try some other ways that I don't have in here. But all the rest is for emergency, just to have. So I actually have 2 ferro rods in here. I got another one, and then I have my new bigger one. I have waterproof matches. I have 2 lighters in here. Then I have a little magnesium bar here where you shave off the magnesium stuff, and then use a striker to start a fire. And then I have a extra knife in here for the ferro rod. Yeah, that's about it right now. And I'm going to add some more stuff. I have some birch bark in here too. That works really good for starting a fire. I want to add a couple of things. I want to do keep my fire going here for a while. I want to add a flint and steel. I don't have that. So that's like a flint rock and then a piece of steel, and you hit it to get a spark. And you can use char cloth or amadou or different things to get lit, or your regular tinder. That's kind of cool. I don't know a lot about it, but I want to get a couple of those, and I'm hoping my friend Don, because he does welding too with metal work, I'm hoping he'll make me a little metal striker, the steel. So I want to add that to my fire kit. I also want to get fat wood. I've never worked with fat wood. Now fat wood is the dense resin that's in a pine tree, like the stump or a dead tree, or where the branches connect to the tree, or the knots. There's resin, and it's all in one spot. So you can get those chunks of wood. It's called fat wood, and then you shave it, and that's one of the best fire starters there is, especially if things are cold and wet. So I want to start getting fat wood and put that in my kit too. And then there's things where you can make a bow drill. You have a piece of wood and you have another upright piece of wood with a string or paracord or whatever, and you go like this and it starts a fire. There's other ways, other different kinds of ways to start a fire and different fire starters and stuff. So that's kind of fun to learn those different things and know how to start a fire in different situations when it's wet and cold and windy. It's good to know those things, and I think it's fun. I like the bushcraft stuff. I'm just starting to learn a lot of it, and again, I like to learn and then share with you as I learn. But yeah, it's good to have a fire kit in your pack, or even in your waist pack, a way to start a fire in an emergency situation, or just for fun, for all those reasons. You know, and then it's really important to prepare before you start the fire. That's what I've learned. Okay, so before I started getting into bushcraft and backpacking, hiking, all this stuff, and building fire and stuff, whenever we'd have a fire, I would throw logs in the fire pit, put some lighter fluid on it, some paper, and throw a match. Now I like to do it the old-fashioned way, and it's just kind of fun. You know, so you'll get your spot and you get it cleared off, and you have, you know, you need some tinder, you know, some the birch bark, some small dry pieces of wood shavings and dryer lint and other different kinds of tinder and stuff, and then use your ferro rod to get a spark. But the thing is to prepare ahead of time. So then you need a little pile of twigs, you know, your kindling, and then small pieces of split wood. Logs are okay, I got some small logs here, but then I started with a whole bunch of split wood. If you split the wood, it burns way better, so that's fun. I love doing that. I'm gonna do that later today. Just sit and split wood with a little hatchet. Oh, that's so relaxing, like the fire. I just like to do that. But to have a bunch of split wood, and then bigger piece of wood, logs, whatever, and you build the fire, you know, and it's good to have all that stuff already, because then you get it lit, and then you add some kindling, and then you add some bigger piece of wood and bigger logs for your fire. So it's good to prepare ahead of time, because then you have a better chance of getting it going and keeping it going. And again, if you don't have a fire pit, if you know, there's reasons, different things that would happen where you couldn't do an open fire like this. Okay, if it's really dry out, you know, if there's a fire ban, if you're in a, you know, some campgrounds or state parks, you can't have a fire, or just some places in the woods on trails and campsites on hiking trails, different places, in the woods in the wilderness. Sometimes there are signs that say you can't have an open fire. And there's other things you can do to have a fire too, for all those reasons, to boil water, to cook food, for light and heat and all that different stuff. You can do a little mini fire, and you know, you can do, I've done a video before of my little Fancy Feast stove. It's a little alcohol stove in a Fancy Feast cat food can. It's so cool, it's so cheap, so easy, so light, so small, and you can cook food and boil water and even have a little light and heat from that. Not much, but you could do that stuff when you can't have a big open flame, a big fire. But what I really like is my fire can. I don't have one here with me, but I've done videos on them before, and I keep making more because I like different sizes. But just like out of a soup can is a good size, and take a can opener, you make holes around the top. Well, take the label off, take the food out, clean it out, and then you use a can opener to make holes on the top, holes on the bottom, and then drill or punch a whole bunch of holes on the sides. And it's a fire can. It's a stove. And then you can start a little fire in there, and you can have, you know, little twigs and a little piece of wood and have a fire in there. And it's self-contained, so you can have it on a rock or whatever. And it's a self-contained little fire. Now, you can buy fire boxes, and they're really expensive, and they're square, and you have to put them together. I don't like them. They're okay if you like that. But I like round. I mean, a soup can or any kind of can like that, it's free. I mean, eat the food, and then you have the can, and you can make it for free. It's a DIY. It makes it kind of fun. It's already made. You don't have to put it together. And it fits in your cook kit. Mine fits in my cook kit, and I have things inside that. So I just like that it's round, it's solid, it's already put together. You don't have to put it together. I just like my little fire cans, and I must have a dozen of them, different sizes, from a small can to a coffee can, and even took an old, well, an extra, it wasn't old, but it was an extra big stew pot, and I drilled holes in it, and it has handles on it, and it's about this big. And that's kind of a neat self-contained fire can for a bigger fire. Well, what's neat about the fire can, and like the soup size, You can put a little pan on it and you can cook food. You can fry food. I've done that before. You can boil water on it. You can have a little fire for light and heat and all that stuff in that fire can. I just enjoy that. I like using a fire can. Matter of fact, I was just out for 2 weeks trucking, working on the road, and I was just aching for a fire, and I never got one the whole time. But I had a fire can with me and a little piece of wood. It just didn't work out. I wanted to do it at a rest area or parking lot at a truck stop. It didn't work out, just, you know, places and time, and it was raining and windy. But when you can't have a big fire, you can do it in a little fire can like that, or a firebox if you want to buy one of those. But there's self-contained little things where you can do all those things. All the reasons it's good to have a fire, you can pretty much do all those in a little fire can, a little self-contained, safe way to have a little fire. So that's kind of neat too. Birds are singing this morning. But yeah, I just wanted to share some my 10 reasons why I think a fire is good. And they're not new. I'm sure you've heard them before, and let me know in the comments if you have other ideas and thoughts, other reasons why a fire is good. And again, you know, when you're building a fire, prepare and be safe. And man, it's kind of neat to put together a little fire kit. It doesn't cost much, and you can make things and have ways to start a fire, have multiple ways to start a fire in emergency or survival situations to save your life. And it's a blessing. It's just a nice thing. I just enjoy fire. My wife and I love to sit at the fire. Later today, we're actually going to do lunch on the fire tonight. So I'm going to do a little fire, and we're going to cook steak and taters, and might do a video. We'll see. I don't have to do a video on everything, but might try to fry some cheese. I've never done it, but I hear it's really good. But yeah, again, if you're new to my channel, it's just me sharing my life. You know, I don't make specific content. I just like to make videos, and I like to share my life. I like to encourage and inspire and help people smile, and I can do that through my videos. And I just do things. Sometimes, like this was a purposeful one. I mean, I wanted to have a fire this morning anyway. I thought, well, I've been wanting to do a fire talk, and I thought I'd just do it. But a lot of times it's just me playing mandolin, or going for a hike, or doing woodworking, or doing stuff with my wife, or just, you know, with other family and friends, singing badly, and just whatever I do, you know, it's just my life. I have a lot of different things. This isn't a woodworking channel or a bushcraft channel. That's why it's Marty's Ramblings. I changed the name a couple times, but come back to Marty's Ramblings. I'm going to keep it Marty's Ramblings because I ramble. I ramble as a truck driver around the country. I ramble on trails, hiking. I ramble when I talk. I don't know how long this is so far, but you can see that I ramble. Anyway, so I hope you like my videos, my channel. If you do, subscribe, please. And I don't make any money on YouTube. I mean, I'm starting to make pennies on ads, but seriously, pennies, that's it. And but I don't make money on it or anything. You can donate to my channel if you want. I can buy some gear or buy something for videos to do, but you don't have to. I don't. So yeah, I don't make money from it. It's just for fun. I got over 600 videos. Crazy. 640, I think now. So you can binge watch me if you're really bored. You're really desperate. Your TV goes down and nothing else to do. Watch Marty's Ramblings. But please give this a thumbs up if you like this video, if you got any value from it or entertainment from it. I'm going to finish enjoying my fire here, my coffee and pistachios. Just make the most of this day. Got projects and chores and things I want to do. So it's Wednesday and I'm off till Monday. I need it. Getting my truck worked on, a bunch of things fixed on it, and I'll go up Monday again. So but just enjoy being home. I love being home. So I hope you're all doing well. Again, my advice to y'all, again, like I always say, just make the most of every day. Do what you can. We all have struggles and limitations and trials in life, but do what you can. Make the most of every day. And cherish life. Even in the middle of the trials, try to find some joy. And I know you're not all believers, but give God a chance. True joy is found in Jesus, only Him. Salvation in Him, and He gives us joy and blessings in this life, and then eternal life with Him. So pray you know Him and can live life fully every day. And use your life, your skills, your blessings, your talents, your time to bless others and make a difference in other people's lives. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, and hope you all have a wonderful day, a blessed day. Yeah, just take time to enjoy life. We all have to work. We all have busy things we need to do, but just take time to sit by a fire. Sitting by a campfire is one thing that really relaxes me, and it's a time when I really do kind of rest. Yeah, you got to build a fire and stoke it and do all that stuff, and sometimes you're making a video. But it helps me to slow down and rest. It's kind of fun. So yeah, have a little fire. Just cherish every day of life, every breath of life, every moment. I'm not perfect by a long shot. I just know I need Jesus, and I just don't like a day to go by where I didn't do my best and make the most of it and live fully, even in the middle of hard times. There's a lot of hard things in the world, a lot of hard things in our lives, but we can still cherish life and live and focus on the good, and try to make a difference in the world and honor God with our lives. That's our purpose. God created each one of us. We all have different things that He wants us to do and we can do, but the overall purpose is to honor Him and glorify Him with our lives. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.